Okay, it's 9 o'clock. I'd like to call the meeting to order. If you have your cell phones, please turn them off, and that would be me. Okay. Um, Becky, could you do roll call, please?
Sure. Jack Scroxton,
Here.
Ellie Hess,
Here.
Dean Friel,
Here.
Katie White, Ron Gascoigne, Chris Norberg.
Here.
Okay, if you notice that Chris Norberg has joined us and Reed has not. Reed has went to the Finance Committee, and Chris has been invited to come and join our committee. So welcome, Chris, to your original committee from back in the day, and we welcome your comments as to this committee. Any public speakers here? Greg, I see you're here and you've included a report. Do you want to talk about your report that you gave us?
Thank you, Jack. I think I'm just going to hit some of the highlights unless there's questions regarding my report. As this committee and the county board has been aware, Reagan Mass Transit District has served or is serving as the operator for a new service in rural Winnebago County. I'm happy to report that as much as we can probably gain in terms of some insight as to how or what we should expect for ridership in that rural area of Winnebago, it is developing. I will tell you anecdotally that the conversations that we're having up there, people are very thrilled with the opportunity to use this as a community resource. Some people are actually flabbergasted from the perspective of, really? It only cost me $1 to go within my zip code one way? And it's like a too good to be true type of thing, but I'm happy to report that we're getting more and more calls, and currently we have basically the equivalent of one full-time employee in terms of a driver that's actually dedicated to rural Winnebago. And I also want to highlight that we're working hand in hand with Rockford Mass Transit District, another RMTD, in terms of making the transition for some of those rides that are going from rural Winnebago into urban area of Rockford. So overall, it's been I would say, a very positive experience so far, and we're looking to continue that growth. During July, if I look at the ridership data just for a second, I think this committee is probably not completely surprised by the growth that we're seeing in July as school starts to come back into session. We're going to see those numbers start to climb again. Summer does have a little dip, but as we get back into school and those type of activities, our ridership will grow to a more significant number of more than 8,000 rides being provided in a monthly period of time. And that is exactly what is occurring. We are selling more of some of the passes for Faith Christian, which does not have a bus service. So we're able to step into that role. And we're also accentuating, again, a relationship with local businesses in terms of meeting that need for potential employees who do not have a regular ride to or from their employment work site. In the time frame before my next report in September, we will have applied for another national grant through the Rural Transportation Association program, known as RTAP. They're specifically looking at how we can improve transit in rural America, and our focus will focus on getting people home from the second shift and to their third shift start. Otherwise, we can cover all the other shifts of an employee's operation. So we're looking for a partner. We will send out a survey to some local organizations and businesses to find out some more information in terms of their interest in actually being a participant and or supporting this effort, which if we could actually do this as a pilot and really nail it in terms of working out some of those kinks that have prevented us from serving those two day parts, it could actually open up obviously a lot more opportunities for employees and those persons whose quality of life would be also improved by those employment opportunities. So, Jack, unless there's questions.
I just had a comment. I'm just, you brought up the rural Winnebago that you guys are covering, and I am surprised that Rockford Mass Transit isn't taking care of their rural Rockford. And there might be,
It really goes back to the rules associated with the funding that will
okay,
provide
all
the
right.
service for rural. And currently, they are not a recipient of 5311
Okay.
funding, which is what supports that
That-
funding mechanism for rural
that
Winnebago.
answers my question then. Thank you.
Good question, though.
Yep, all right. All right, well, thank you. I don't see anybody else out there, so let's go to the approval of the minutes. If there's no changes or corrections to the minutes from the July 15th meeting, anybody see anything? If not, they will be stand as presented. So let's go right into the department reports. Dave Anderson, Transportation. Dave, you want to walk us through your report?
Sure.
Here?
no- Yep. Yeah, I made it. And then I'm gonna move right on out of here after I give the report. So no board actions this month. To give you quick updates on some of the project work. The township seal coat work in your reports has not started, but we actually did start that after I wrote this report up. So we got a few townships knocked off on that and probably have a few more weeks of steady work on that, weather depending, to get that stuff wrapped up. Let's see, on the Brooklyn Road Bridge, there's a couple photos I included in the report there. That was from a couple Saturdays ago. We poured the south pier cap and pile encasement and south abutment a couple Saturdays ago. Got everything moved over to the other side. They've got coffer dams driven and getting set up here this morning to drive some more pile there on the piers and the abutments on the north side. And hopefully bang those out in the next day, get those things filled, and then hopefully start forming up next week and do the same thing on the other side and keep moving on that. There's our goal really is September 15th on a completion date, but once that stuff once the pier caps and stuff get set up, it's precast, pre-stressed concrete deck beams go on the top, so that goes pretty quick. To get the top on there. Then there's not a whole lot of roadway approach work there. We do have some post tensioning to do on those beams, and then waterproofing that and getting some paving work done on the approaches. So after the concrete work is done, then it should move along pretty quickly. One other thing to note is we did have Rock Island Road closed down last week, and we got that job completed. The UP's track maintenance crew got some new crossings in there. We did some of the approach work. And when you put those crossings in, they naturally, they get raised up just a little bit. So it's a little bit higher than it was before. So it was kind of difficult for us to get that tied in with hot mix approaches. And the eastbound's not too bad. Westbound's got a whoop-de-doo as you leave the west end of the approach there. And we're thinking about maybe coming in and trying to stretch that approach out just a little bit more. Of course, we don't have a paver or anything, but we might be able to do that with a grader and try and true that up just a little bit. The time to really get that smoothed out is when you repave the road. And, that's not on the slate here for the next couple of years. So anyway, it'll be a bit before Rock Island's paved. So try and dress that up as best we can. Other than that, I think that's about it.
Any questions for Dave? Thank you, Dave. All right, let's move on to the assessor's office. Jennifer, you want to walk us through your report then?
Good morning. An update on the Dixon Township. Last month I had reported that they were the only one we hadn't received our township work back from yet, and they have submitted their completed field work, and our office has begun to process their assessment books. I have been in contact with the Dixon Township supervisor, and I plan to attend their upcoming township meeting that is tomorrow night to further discuss their current assessor vacancy and their potential next steps. So I've been in contact with Brent Reuter and plan to be there to support them in their steps going forward. We continue to face staffing challenges in our office with field workers. We had found new field workers in the spring, and it went really well for getting out there and completing our task lists in the different townships. But unfortunately, our husband and wife team that we had is actually moving out of the area, so they won't be available for our fall quadrennial pictures. So that leaves us a shortage in the field inspector area once again, and I'll be evaluating the options to address that gap going forward. So I'll be working with that. Also, the GIS department has successfully installed the ArcGIS Pro on the assessment staff computers. Our team has started familiarizing themselves with the new platform. We still have our ARC map that we're working with daily, but they're able to get into the Pro and start just getting familiar with it right now to ease into that. So we're planning on a full conversion to the ArcGIS Pro by early 2026, as the support for our current ARC map will be ending in March 2026. So Sammy and Logan have been great help in getting us ready for that. And nobody likes change, so it's been easing us into that process. In fact, I don't have it on my computer yet. Sammy's gonna go put it on my computer this morning, I believe. So yeah. So, is there any questions for my office?
Any questions for Jennifer?
Thank you.
All right, Sammy, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Jennifer. Good morning, everybody. At the GIS department, we continued processing parcel split and combination requests for June, followed by updates to key GIS layers, including zoning, land use, and other property-related data. We also began land use updates for Dixon and Palmyra townships as part of the 2025 quadrennial reassessment. We also updated NG 911 and 911 GS layers and supported the zoning and 911 departments in assigning new addresses. We developed an online map for the village of Sublette to support the zoning department's data extraction and analysis needs, and helped review a new software agreement to ensure GIS compatibility. We submitted GIS data for Dixon City and Dixon Rural ESNs to the Dixon Fire Department to support the implementation of a new notification program. Additionally, we began installing ArcGIS Pro on assessment office PCs to prepare staff for full deployment in early 2026. We're also exploring the power of integrated AI tools within Esri GIS software to elevate our data analysis capabilities and streamline operations. Finally, we attended the 2025 Esri User Conference in San Diego, California, gaining insights into the latest GIS advancement through expert-led sessions, hands-on workshops, and industry networking. These insights will support improvements to our workflows and enhance system capabilities. Also, our GIS department's interactive story map available at the provided link was selected for presentation in the map gallery at the conference. This recognition highlights the quality and impact of our geospatial work and provides valuable opportunity to showcase our projects to the global GIS community. That's all I have. Thank you. Any questions?
Any questions for Sammy? Good work, Sammy. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving down to County Board, Jeremy, do you have anything to share with us today?
Yeah, just a few items. Again, as a reminder, myself and the finance team and all the department heads are working on budgets diligently right now. So that's taking up quite a bit of time, but we're going through that and enjoying the process along the way. An update on the recycling center. I know that this has been kind of a big topic for us continually. I'm trying to work with the city of Dixon currently on them locating a municipal lot for them to host the recycling units that we have down by our food pantry location. As all the other municipalities that we have our recycling units in, they are hosted on a municipal lot, and we're trying to stay consistent. City Manager Langloss is talking to his team about trying to find the right location. If we are not able to find a location that works for the city at this time, we may be removing them for a short while until we can find a suitable location that is able to be monitored and secured. So just wanted to give everybody a little bit of an update on that. I know that's it's been a topic for quite some time, and we want to make sure there's a resolution.
I'm afraid that as soon as we remove those, public's just gonna come and just dump it in that spot. I don't know, just that fear, you know.
I really hope not. It's the public that is the reason why we're working through this
Yeah.
situation, because they abuse them.
um,
It's unfortunate that we even have to figure out a different place for them or talk about removing them, because it is a service to everyone.
It's like getting people to take their carts back to the shopping corral, you know, instead of just dumping
You're not
them.
supposed to leave them in the middle.
No.
I've been doing that for a long time. Oops.
I'm
So I
sorry.
just
Off topic.
wanted to make sure everybody knew where we were at with that. I've been in communications with Sublette. They have an ISP that's interested in laying fiber infrastructure there. And we're trying to work on getting that completed. This is, again, part of a project that we've been working on for a year and a half. So there's been movement, and it's great. Just hopefully we could continue to see those pieces of the puzzle continue to be added in. So
Kind of like saying, hey, we're gonna bring you water. Now we're fine without water. We don't
Yeah.
need any of that.
yeah, no, it's okay. Not a big deal. You will be seeing this month at the board meeting, the reorganization of the finance director to the administrative offices. This has been, was the idea when we hired Reed Mitchell as the finance director. For when he came in, he was placed under the treasurer's office, but the long-term goal was to reorg that position under the administrative offices, and that's going to be going through this month. So just be prepared for that. We are also waiting on information from IDOT to announce their community project funds that they're going to be issuing. There was $400 million that they had set aside. We had applied, I know Dave Anderson applied for a handful of highway projects. We applied County General as a project for our retaining wall and sidewalk repairs here at the old courthouse. We're hoping to hear soon as IDOT continues to work on Galena within their resurfacing and all of their ADA accessibility sidewalk repairs and replacements. So just wanted to give you an update where that's at. Do you guys have any questions?
Any questions or comments for Jeremy? Thank you, Jeremy.
Thanks.
All right, so let's move on to the county clerk and recorder. Nancy, would you like to walk us through your report?
Sure. Good morning.
Morning.
Following my report, August 5th was the first day you could pick up packets in the election department. So those are available for anyone that's interested in running. Filing dates are October 27th through November 3rd. And countywide mailing looks like the voter cards are going to go out sometime in September. And that's my report. Any questions?
Any questions for Nancy? Thank you, Nancy. All right, IT is not here, but he got his report in late, so it's in your onboard if you want to take a look at that. ROE, Chris.
Thank you. It was kind of a slow middle month for us in July. It's picking up now. You're going to see a lot of school buses out tomorrow, 24 school districts, and a lot of them are starting tomorrow. We've had welcome backs starting yesterday. So exciting time of the year for us. I'll just hit a couple of highlights from the report. One thing for me personally that a lot of people don't know this, but there's a National Association of Regional Superintendents of Schools, and it's a phenomenal organization. And I was the vice president of Illinois' regional soups the last 2 years. So really good feel for what's going on across the state. And I've learned a lot from my fellow colleagues in Illinois. But they have a leadership cohort with the National Association every year that you can put in for. And they take 20 every year. So I just took a chance and put in for it since I was done with my vice presidency and got selected for it. So pretty excited about that. There's 20 of us from across the nation that were selected to be in the program this year. We just got together in Austin, Texas 3 weeks ago and had phenomenal 2.5 days worth of meetings. And we're going to do a lot of Zoom meetings. We're going to get together in Washington, DC and in Colorado. But next April, the whole group gets to go to Spain and Portugal for 10 days, which is really exciting. We're going to get to meet with the top education officials in those two countries and tour their schools and learn how they do schools. And we're going to share with them how things go in the United States. So pretty excited about that and looking forward to it. Some of the other things in our department, some updates. All our programs are getting ready to roll again. We did hire one new parent educator in our Parents as Teachers program, and it was exciting for me because Megan Ross, now Megan Stinson, she was one of my students at Dixon High School back in the day. So it's nice that we were able to hire a Dixon High School grad, and she's hit the ground running and doing great. So we'll be fully staffed in all our programs. Our education outreach program, which helps young adults get their high school diploma. We already enrolled 7 or 8 new students starting here, and we'll have a pretty full slate and continue to help those young adults get their high school diploma. Center for Change, our alternative school, staff was back yesterday. Students will be coming tomorrow. We're excited. We've got 2 new programs there. One is going to be a work-based program that we wrote a grant for. So some of our students, and we have a teacher who's going to take on that responsibility. Now we'll be setting up internships with them and giving them the opportunity to go to different businesses in the area and learn on the job, learn work skills, which is important for all students, but especially those students. And then we also are going to have a new vocational skills course in the curriculum for all students. That's going to kind of just help them get prepared for life, which I love. You know, practical real world skills they can immediately apply after graduation. They're going to, learn budgeting, finance, some literacy, workplace communication, other important workplace skills. And that was because a lot of students were asking for it. So we're happy to integrate those 2 programs. And then federal funding has been announced that it's flowing, which is good news for all of our districts. The only problem for my office is the homeless grant, the McKinney-Vento homeless grant, is always run through the ROEs for a long time. And we're the hub for the whole northwest part of Illinois. Deb Faust has been with us a long time. She does a phenomenal job. And the federal government has announced that the money's coming to Illinois for that program, which is great because we need it. But for whatever reason, and ISB's not communicating with us, they sent the ability for all school districts individually to apply for the grant this year. So I've talked to a lot of my superintendents because they asked me why that was happening. We've asked ISB why it's happening. They are encouraging districts to put in for it and our offices to put in for it. So very frustrating to me at this point because we don't know if it's going to continue to flow through our office or not. And I have an employee that's been in charge of this grant for a lot of years. So it's going to be critical to her that it continues to go through our office. But I'm going to continue to monitor that situation and hope that the state does what's right. But any questions about my report?
Any questions for Chris? Thank you as always. Veterans Assistance, Jim Gorman, he's not here, but he did submit a report for us to look at. And then next on deck is zoning. Alice, would you like to walk us through your report?
Sure. Good morning. Actions coming from the zoning hearing officer. This month we have petition number 25P1647 by Donald and Annette Early. This involves their daughter trying to bring a horse to the property that is currently zoned R2 single family residential. That district does not allow for farm animals or livestock. When they initially petitioned, they did petition to go to an Ag 1. I was very hesitant going this route because it is considered spot zoning. We were able to get to the R1 district. And the night of the hearing, they did amend to request to go to the R1 district. This district does allow for farm animals and livestock, but it does keep the district residential. And the Judge Slavin was the zoning hearing officer that night, and he did take it under advisement. I don't anticipate receiving that in time for you guys to vote on this month, so it will be coming to you next month. Petition number 25P1649 by J.W. King Limited Family Partnership is also seeking to go from the R2 single family residential district to the Ag 1 district. Mr. King testified that currently the property is in CRP. He feels that it is an agricultural use and would like to see the property go to an agricultural use. The reason that parcel is a residentially zoned parcel at this time does have to do with our comprehensive plan. We tend to try to keep those areas within the 1.5 miles of the city residential and in anticipation of future residential growth of the city. No one is telling Mr. King that they cannot do CRP at that property. I would think that if he's really trying to preserve the agricultural use at that property, an R1 would also be appropriate. However, that was not on the table that night, so judge did take that under advisement as well. And again, we will not have that. I will not be able to send that recommendation to you till next month. Actions coming from the zoning hearing officer, or actions going to the zoning hearing officer are none. Actions coming from the planning commission are none. Actions going to the planning commission is petition number 25PC80. This is a petition for text amendment to amend the residential districts in our zoning code. One, to amend the R1 district to restrict the number of farm animals or livestock that can be had within that district. And to the R2 district, we are again looking to bring back the chicken conversation, in which they would be allowed to have 6 chickens, no roosters. And it would mirror what the city of Dixon is currently doing. And other action from the zoning office, we have been working for the last several months to develop a violations process for our office. We do have those forms now in place, and we are actively working through some violations that we have. We did send out our first round, I believe, on July 25th. We are getting, people are responding, looking to correct some of their violations. We're mainly focused on junk properties, things of that nature. Also, the zoning office is very excited to announce that we will be getting software. This software is critical to the function of the office. Now that we have Joe Bay, myself, and Jared all working on different aspects, this software will bring us all together. Currently, we're working in various databases and Word documents. We are really looking forward to having all of our information brought into one place, and we feel it will be a big asset to our office. I have nothing further.
Okay, just to kind of go back on reference to the petitions, do you want, are you suggesting that we table these petitions 1647 and 1649?
Yeah,
Or just not do any action on them at all?
I would say table them.
For next month is what you're saying?
Yes, I did not get any indication from Judge Slavin that they would be here in time for you guys to vote on them. The petition number 25P1649 is a little bit trickier.
No action on it.
So I don't want to rush you guys into voting on that without having a chance to review all the information.
All right. Chris brought to my attention here that, go ahead. Chris, go ahead and say
Is
what
it
you
necessary to table it, or if we just don't take any action on it and just can move it into next month?
Yeah, if it's not included on the full board, you're not going to do anything with it anyway.
Correct. So just take no action here.
So just don't take any action on those?
Table it, then you
Okay.
gotta untable it here. and
Sure.
Blah, blah, blah.
All right. So that's what we'll do. We just won't do any action on those particular items. let's just then go to the petition going to the planning commission. So is there a motion to move petition 25 PC 80 to the executive committee for inclusion on the August County Board agenda? First by Ally Huss, seconded by Dean Friel. Any discussion on that? This is
Text amendment.
the text amendment.
Yes. So I do have one thing that I'm sitting here and it's
On 80,
on the-
25 PC 80?
Yeah, on the
Okay.
tax amendment or text amendment. I think we need to add other to it. And we talked about this yesterday, Alice. There's so many other subspecies of animals out there, like llamas, alpacas, so on and so forth. I have no idea what people are going to come up with as a catch-all, just saying, hey, let's add others at one from the multiplier and call it good. That's the only thing that I would see as I read through the changes.
Any comments or on making that addition to that?
Asking Alice, alpacas or llamas are not one of the subspecies that you have animal types there for, correct?
I
don't believe so.
I would have to go back and look. I am not sure. But I would agree, having another category is kind of a catch-all for anything that does come our way.
Okay.
Well, those species are typically classified under like exotic species would be the only thing there. So are we allowing exotic species into the R2? Or I'm sorry, R1? Those would be exotics.
The definition of, I believe it's farm animal does include exotic.
Okay.
We could further define what exotic is.
I'm cool with exotics, but I don't know if all others are going to fall under the same other bucket category. Maybe it's a case by case of, so alpacas and llamas falling somewhere in between equine and bovine, you know, being a ruminant, but not being a small ruminant animal. I don't know, I don't know if we can define all of it. It might be a case by case.
We brought up the conversation and it's completely far-fetched and out there. What if somebody wants a giraffe, right? Like there's nothing. to
Right,
stop
that's what I
them
mean,
from
like
it.
with
So-
exotics. Are we allowing exotics into the,
But those are held at the state level. Like you can't own a giraffe in the state of Illinois. So, but you can own an alpaca in Lee County, Illinois.
currently you can still own a kangaroo too. So, and those are quite, those are quite hard to constrain. So, I mean, I don't know if we want to maybe reconsider if we're going to allow for the R1 residential livestock definition to include exotics. If you want exotics, that's cool, probably should be in an ag one, right?
Where's that line, right? Like, where's the line between exotic and a pet? It's like the billboard for PETA. Where's the line for whether it's dinner or whether it's a pet? Like,
State
yeah.
definitions.
So, I'm good with however you want to do it. I understand where you're coming from because we did have this conversation yesterday of do we need other and is there an exotic category? If you want to, I'm very open however you want to look at wording it. So.
Okay, so we have a first and a second. Now we want to add some things to this, correct?
I'm gonna research that more. I'll research that more on yeah, let me think on that before I go on the record and what to think about.
We do have a little bit of time to amend that petition before I publish notice of the hearing in the paper, so we can continue working on that as well.
Is there verbiage in here that allows for consideration at the administrative level within the zoning office? So if someone comes in with a llama or an alpaca and it's not, you know, excessive and we feel that it fits within the designed use and the space of what they're intending to do on the parcel, you can direct them to which quantity and factor that would fall under?
It's not in there currently.
Okay.
I think that would be nice to have that in there personally, kind of give that.
I mean, if someone wants to come in and house 5 kangaroos, like probably not, right? That's probably not going to be something that in an R1 is going to be, they'd be able to maintain with the proper fencing that's approved for that area.
And that's where all this started, right? Is looking at this other property as saying, hey, we want to put essentially an R1 in a residential zone. There's nothing limiting the number of animals on said property. So you're always going to have the potential of somebody who wants to abuse the system and have kangaroos or wants to have porcupines or whatever you want.
Okay, if you have kangaroo, but it needs to be in the right spot, right?
Well, it has to be in the right spot. And then you've also got language in there from smell and sound, and you have to be able to contain them. Like there's already stuff in the code that says, hey, if they're getting out, then we've got problems, right? So
I think just maybe adding some verbiage that allows for discretion at the administrative level based on case use and location for the parcel.
So that was, and this came up in the conversation, because right now the stipulation is noise and sound. Right? So if Jeremy's out there and he thinks it smells, and I go out there and I'm like, it doesn't smell, like I'm a farm kid, I think pigs smell great. So noise and sound are subjective. They're very subjective in Charlie's, but a number on the multiplication of saying, hey, there's 9 pigs out there and there's 12 cows, and it comes to this factor and says, yep, you're over that factor. That's not subjective. And that was the whole reason for getting to that. I want to get away from any subjective case whatsoever, because that just makes everything easier. I love black and white in this. I love gray in my business, but black and white here is way better.
The Farm Nuisance Act, is that going to apply in this zoning district? Where,
For the one that she's talking about right now?
yeah, for being in an R1, is that gonna be?
Well, I think that comes back to what you were talking about before when it comes to spot zoning, and that's why you do it the way that you're talking about with the 1.5 miles that Alice had brought up, because then you don't have that gray area that you're talking about. You have that black and white where you're keeping it away from them and subjecting them to the certain standards that you have for Ag 1.
And are we actually defining this as a farm?
The use allowed under the code is agriculture, which.
Yes, we did use the word agriculture.
Does the Nuisance Farm Act govern hobby farms?
So hobby farm is typically a term that's employed more by the IRS than like the zoning office, right? So I don't know if the Farm Nuisance Act is specifically delineating between a full-blown operational commercial type versus hobby, but I'm not sure the gray is a factor. If the Farm Nuisance Act is applying, your neighbor cannot tell you that they don't like the way that your 1 or 10 pigs smell, right? So I think we've kind of already, we're outside of that. Sure. I would just say maybe some verbiage in there that gives some administrative oversight
Okay.
for situations that may not be quite as fitting to the outlined parameters in the ordinance, so that you still have the discretion and ability to just close loopholes or
Yeah.
such
Okay.
that might exist that we can't even foresee.
Okay.
Okay, so like I said, we have a motion and a second with it as is. So if we vote to have it going, it goes as is without these changes being made, correct? That my understanding is how this goes? We got time? So if we pass this, then we still got time to adjust it? Okay. All right, so any more?
No, so I think we're all in agreement that we're going to probably have these changes in place by next Thursday, right? We
Right.
want to see whether it's others, whether it's exotic, some definitions that.
Well,
need
it's
be
going to
brought
go
into
to
it.
executive. So will you have anything by executive at least? Do you think?
Yeah, I can put
Okay.
something together.
All right. Then I'll try to help explain that from that part. You'll be there, right? Alice? Thank you. Leave me on a limb there. Okay, all right. Any other comments? All right. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carried. Okay, next up is battery storage moratorium. Yeah, another. Alice, you got,
Yep.
Go ahead.
Our last one, that we have in place expires on our August 31st. Just prepared another one to take us through the end of this year. We are still kind of waiting to see what the state's gonna do, if they're gonna do anything. I do have some language started. So that's just basically to cover us for the time being. We can always, undo the moratorium if we get something in place prior to then.
Okay, good enough for me. All right, is there a motion to move the battery storage moratorium resolution to the executive committee to be included on the August County Board agenda? First by Dean Friel, second by Chris Norberg. Any discussions on that? No discussions. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same. Motion carried. No unfinished, no new, no executive. Motion to adjourn. Meeting, Dean Friel first, seconded by Chris Norberg. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.